I returned from war, ready for a tearful reunion, but my kids ignored me and my wife framed me as a monster. Now a broke homeless dad. I must expose her lies and win my children back before she destroys them forever. After 18 months in Afghanistan, I came back to find that my kids hate me. While I was deployed, I'd watch those soldiers coming home to their kids' videos, just to remember who I was doing this for. It was the only thing that motivated me to keep fighting while my friends were getting shot down. When I got home and walked through my door, just for none of my kids to hug me, my heart broke. They were still glued to their iPads, swiping away at Temple Run. That's when someone started running down the stairs. It was my in-laws. They hugged me tightly. We've been waiting for this moment for so long. This warmed my heart, and I hugged them back. Then my wife popped out of nowhere and lightly hugged me too. That's when I tensed up, because as I glanced around the room, I noticed it had been filled with empty moving boxes and suitcases. And I guess they noticed me staring, because that's when they broke the news. Maria, my wife, was struggling to take care of everything while you abandoned your family, so we moved in to help. My mother-in-law said the word abandoned like it was a joke, but it felt real. I froze in my tracks, because Maria and I had countless conversations before I left for the war. She was the one who convinced me that it was a good idea to go. Well, other ex-soldiers had already warned me that things would seem off in the first week of returning, so I shoved my pain away and told myself it was only a matter of time before things went back to normal. That night for dinner, I cooked my famous roast chicken, the one with homemade rosemary garlic butter and creamy mashed potatoes. Before I left, my kids would practically beg for me to cook this every day. But now, nothing. Not even a thanks, Dad. We were eating in silence when my youngest son, 5, Lucas, dropped his plate on the floor. Suddenly, my system raced into action. I quickly stood up and ducked under the table, whispering a countdown from 5 like I had done in the war. But when I got to 1, nothing happened. That's when I realized I was back home. I took a deep breath and sat back down. And instead of my wife comforting me, she stared at me with horror. Her mother was typing something furiously on her phone. I had no idea they had been filming me the whole time. Emma, my daughter, and Lucas were whisked away before I could even apologize to them. The next few months were brutal. My wife was as distant as ever, and my kids refused to do anything with me. The only thing there for me was my PTSD symptoms. And one day, I woke up to a knock at the door. It was a caseworker. Mr. Hanley, I'm from Child Protective Services. We've received concerning reports about erratic behavior around your children. She then showed me something that still makes my skin crawl. Right there on her phone was a video compilation of my PTSD flashbacks completely taken out of context. I had been framed to look unpredictable and show evidence of violence. I gripped onto the doorframe to stop myself from collapsing. That's when my wife appeared behind me. I thought she was going to defend me, but no. I think it's best if you stay somewhere else for a while, for the children's safety. Her parents flanked her like bodyguards, my MIL still filming on her phone. I knew if I didn't leave right then and there, it would provide more evidence of being a bad father. So I left my own home with nothing but a trash bag of my dirty clothes and a phone charger. I had only kept 20% of what I earned from being a soldier, with the rest going to my family. But there were only $3.05 sitting in my bank account. I texted Maria, and she responded instantly. Investment opportunities. Your parents needed it more than we did. I stared at my phone, tears blurring my vision. My days became filled with depression naps in my truck, showering at the gym, and eating free food from the local church. I was sitting in a Taco Bell when I saw Jake. We'd served together, survived an ambush together. Now he's a lawyer. Brother, what the hell happened to you? When I told him everything, his jaw clenched. Those videos, were they recording you without consent? When I nodded, he smirked. You know that's illegal in this state. And for the first time since I was deployed, I smiled back. Jake worked for free, fueled by pure rage. And after just a day, he found something that changed everything. I deleted a folder on my iPad, one that was still connected to Maria's iCloud account. What I saw made my stomach churn. Video after video of Maria coaching the kids, training them to ignore me when I was around. Remember, if anyone asks, you don't feel safe with Daddy, she said casually, as if she was talking about the weather. And in the background of all of the videos was a man I recognized instantly. Her CrossFit gym friend, the one I had always seen checking her out, now rubbing her shoulders, while she taught our children to lie about me. That's when I knew I needed full custody. I sat in Jake's law office watching those coaching videos for the 3rd time, my hands shaking as I recognized the CrossFit friend. Derek, that was his name. And he was wearing the watch I'd given him before deployment, a thank you for promising to check on my family. Jake paused the video and pointed at the timestamp. My blood ran cold. The first coaching video was dated 6 months into my deployment. 6 months. While I was dodging bullets in Kandahar, Maria was already teaching our kids to hate me. Jake pulled out emergency custody filing paperwork and started writing furiously. I tried to focus on his words about parental alienation evidence, but my mind kept spinning. The conspiracy hadn't started when I came home. It started while I was still serving. My phone buzzed. Bank notification. I logged in to check our joint savings, the account where I'd been depositing 80% of my combat pay for 18 months. Password incorrect. I tried our checking. Password incorrect. Every account, every login, changed. Except one. The old account from before we married showed a balance of $3.05. Maria had cleaned out everything else but left this one open, deliberately, to show me exactly what I had left. Jake's paralegal Catherine walked in with coffee. She took one look at my face and sat down. She told me she was a military spouse too. Her husband served in Iraq. She'd seen 12 cases like mine in the past 2 years. 12 soldiers coming home to empty bank accounts and alienated children. It was becoming a pattern. I drove to Emma's school the next morning, just wanting to see my daughter, to make sure she was okay. Maria must have been watching because within minutes, a police cruiser pulled up. The officer approached my truck window. He seemed sympathetic when I explained, but his hands were tied. Maria had called claiming safety concerns. I had to leave school property immediately. That afternoon, I met with my VA therapist. Dr. Robart had been treating my PTSD since I returned. He documented that my symptoms were typical and manageable. No history of violence, no aggressive behavior, just the normal readjustment issues every combat veteran faces. He printed out my entire treatment record and handed it to Jake. Crucial medical evidence that contradicted Maria's claims. The restraining order came 2 days later. Maria had edited the dinner table video, cutting out Lucas dropping his plate, showing only my diving under under the table. The judge granted a temporary order without hearing my side. Standard procedure, the clerk explained. I couldn't go within 500 feet of my own home. Jake discovered something worse during his investigation. My military benefits, the ones meant to support my family if something happened to me, had been redirected. Maria was now listed as sole beneficiary on everything. The paperwork was dated during my deployment. I remembered signing a stack of forms before leaving, trusting my wife to handle our affairs. Derek had moved into my house. Jake's investigator confirmed it. The man I'd trusted to look after my family was now playing daddy to my kids, sleeping in my bed, using my garage gym, wearing my watch. The church pastor found me sleeping in my truck one night. He offered me a room in the church basement. No questions asked. He became an unexpected ally, documenting my actual mental state. Sober, stable, struggling but not dangerous. He even let me help with the food bank, giving me purpose beyond fighting for my kids. An email from Emma's school made me sick. Her teacher reported that Emma had been telling classmates that daddy scared her. The exact words from Maria's coaching videos. My 7-year-old daughter was parroting lies she'd been taught to believe. Jake pulled up more videos from the deleted folder. One showed Maria sitting with both kids, rehearsing phrases. Daddy scares me. I don't feel safe. He gets angry. Emma struggled with the words while Maria corrected her pronunciation. 6 months into my deployment, while I was sending them videos of me reading bedtime stories from a combat outpost, I drove past my house one evening, staying outside the 500-foot limit. Even from that distance, I could see changes. The deployment photos that used to line the hallway window were gone. The American flag I'd hung before leaving was replaced with Derek's gym banner. Every trace of my military service erased. Catherine connected me with another veteran's wife, Catherine. She revealed that Maria had joined an online support group 8 months ago. Military spouse survivors, they called themselves. Maria had been claiming I was abusive before deployment, building a false narrative while I was thousands of miles away, unable to defend myself. Jake subpoenaed bank records. Large transfers to Derek's fitness business started 7 months into my deployment, coded as childcare expenses. Thousands of dollars of combat pay funding her new relationship. Money I'd earned in a war zone, thinking I was providing for my children's future. My parents finally answered their phone after months of silence. They were confused. Maria had told them I didn't want contact due to classified operations. She'd been intercepting my letters, blocking my calls. They thought I'd abandoned them too. A CPS worker met me at a coffee shop. Off the record, she admitted the case seemed suspicious, but her supervisor insisted on a full investigation. Maria's parents had connections. They'd filed multiple reports. The system had to respond, even when the allegations didn't add up. A mutual friend sent me screenshots of Maria's social media. Family photos from 3 months ago. Derek photoshopped in place of me. Posted while I was in an active combat zone. My kids' birthday parties, Christmas morning, Easter egg hunts, all with Derek playing father while I was serving our country. My unit commander provided a character reference. Colonel McCatherine revealed I'd volunteered for dangerous missions to earn hazard pay. Every extra patrol, every high-risk convoy I'd signed up for. More money for Maria and the kids. He had the mission reports to prove it. Then came the betrayal that hurt almost as much as Maria's. My brother called. He believed her lies. She'd been feeding him stories about my mental state, about anger issues that didn't exist, about threats I'd never made. He chose to side with her, cutting me off from another piece of my support system. The school counselor filed a concerning report. Lucas had been drawing pictures in art class. 2 daddies. One labeled mean in black crayon. One labeled nice in bright colors. The psychological damage was already starting. Jake uncovered Derek's history. A domestic violence charge from 3 years ago. Discharged from the Marines for conduct unbecoming. Maria knew about his past. She'd chosen him anyway. Maybe because of it. Someone with a history she could use to make me look better by comparison. Oh wow. This just keeps getting worse and worse for this poor dad. Finding out Maria left exactly $3.05 in that old account, WTF. I can't believe Maria actually called the cops when he just wanted to see Emma at school. And then she edited that video to make him look dangerous when he was just reacting to Lucas dropping his plate. My unit chaplain provided counseling records from deployment. Every session, I'd talked about missing my family, about counting days until I could hold my kids, about the videos I watched of other soldiers' homecomings, imagining my own. It contradicted Maria's abandonment narrative completely. Maria scheduled the first supervised visitation at a center 40 miles away. The strictest protocols, metal detectors, security cameras, observation rooms, making me look dangerous by association, making my kids afraid before they even saw me. Jake discovered hours of footage on my in-laws' phones. They'd been recording me constantly since my return, waiting for any sign of PTSD symptoms, any moment of frustration, any expression they could twist into evidence of instability. My VA doctor warned me during our session. The stress of the custody battle could worsen my PTSD, exactly what Maria appeared to be counting on. Create enough pressure, enough pain, and maybe I'd crack. Give her the evidence she'd been manufacturing. The supervised visitation center felt like a prison. Emma walked in holding the supervisor's hand, not mine. Lucas hid behind the woman's legs, peeking at me like I was a stranger. The supervisor noted their behavior on her clipboard. I knelt down to their level, pulled out the toy trucks I'd bought. Lucas stepped forward, then looked at the supervisor for permission. She nodded. He took the truck but wouldn't come closer. Emma stayed by the wall, arms crossed, the exact defensive posture Maria used when she was angry. I spent the hour trying to engage them, building block towers, reading their favorite books. Every attempt met with silence or single-word answers. The supervisor scribbled notes constantly. When Lucas accidentally called me Derek, then corrected himself, she wrote for a full minute. Emma asked 3 times when Mommy was coming back. The supervisor documented that too. After the visit, I sat in my truck in the parking lot, hands shaking. Not from PTSD, from rage, from helplessness. My children had been programmed to fear me. The supervisor's report would note their discomfort, their reluctance, evidence for Maria's case. Jake called with bad news. The guardian ad litem appointed to represent the children's interests was Catherine Derek, Derek's cousin. She'd changed her last name after marriage, but Jake's investigator had uncovered the connection. We couldn't prove bias without evidence. Another rigged game. Maria started her next phase of warfare. Church members began avoiding me at services. The pastor pulled me aside after Sunday worship. Maria had been spreading spreading stories, claims that I'd threatened her, that she was living in fear. Several families had expressed concern about me staying on church property. The pastor stood firm, but I could see the pressure building on him. My next therapy session revealed a new violation. Dr. Robart discovered someone had accessed my VA mental health records using an old power of attorney. Maria had my entire treatment history, every session note about combat trauma, every medication adjustment, every moment of vulnerability I'd shared in confidence. She'd weaponized my healing process. Derek's social media made me physically ill. Photos at the zoo with my children, Emma on his shoulders, Lucas wearing a shirt that said, "Daddy's gym buddy." The comments filled with Maria's friends praising what a wonderful father figure he was, how lucky the kids were to have stability, while their real father was painted as the threat. The psychological evaluation Maria demanded took place in a sterile office downtown. The evaluator, Dr. Kathy Brennan, asked leading questions from the start. How often did I feel angry? Had I ever had violent thoughts? Did loud noises make me aggressive? Every question framed to confirm Maria's narrative. I stayed calm, answered honestly, but I could see her checking boxes on a predetermined form. Jake made a breakthrough in the financial investigation. Maria had started transferring money to Derek's fitness business 3 months into my deployment. The dates lined up with their CrossFit app messages. She'd met him at the gym, started an affair, and began funding it with my combat pay. Thousands of dollars meant for our children's future, financing her new relationship. My sister finally returned my calls. Maria had told our entire family I was in psychiatric hold, not serving overseas. She'd sent emails from a spoofed address, claiming I'd had a breakdown and didn't want contact. My own family had spent 18 months believing I'd abandoned them for mental health treatment. The depth of her deception was staggering. During the second supervised visit, Lucas asked when Derek was coming. The supervisor documented his confusion about family structure. Emma spent the entire hour drawing instead of interacting. Her picture showed 2 houses, one bright and colorful with a smiling family, one dark with a single figure standing outside. The supervisor photographed it for her report. Maria filed for increased child support, citing Derek's caretaker role. Her lawyer argued that since Derek was providing daily care while I was restricted to supervised visits, I should pay for his services. The same man sleeping in my bed, using my combat pay, was now demanding I fund his lifestyle through child support. My unit got word of my situation. Within days, a GoFundMe appeared. Brothers I'd served with, sharing the link. The comment section filled with support from soldiers who'd faced similar situations, but it also attracted Maria's supporters, claiming I was using military connections to harass a struggling single mother. Then came another betrayal. My mother called. She believed Maria's version of events, the psychiatric hold story, the anger issues, the threats. Maria had been feeding her carefully crafted lies for months. My own mother now thought I was dangerous. Another family connection severed. The third supervised visit brought a new crisis. A car backfired in the parking lot. The sound sent me diving for cover behind a bench. Pure instinct. The supervisor evacuated the children while I fought to control my breathing. Maria's lawyer filed an emergency motion within hours. Evidence of unpredictable behavior around the children. Jake found Derek's military discharge papers. Conduct unbecoming. He'd been involved with his commanding officer's wife. A pattern of targeting military families. His war stories to my kids were stolen valor. He'd never seen combat, never served honorably. But Maria knew. She'd chosen him specifically for his history. I started attending anger management classes, not because I needed them, but because the court required it. The facilitator, a veteran himself, recognized the situation immediately. Half his class were fathers fighting similar battles, men without anger issues, forced to prove their stability against fabricated accusations. Emma's teacher reached out through the pastor. Mrs. Catherine O'Brien, a military widow, had noticed discrepancies in Emma's stories. The timeline didn't match. The accusations seemed rehearsed. She'd started documenting everything, a potential witness if she was willing to risk Maria's retaliation. The financial audit revealed more devastation. Maria had drained the children's college funds, accounts I'd been contributing to since their births. 18 years of savings for Emma, 5 years for Lucas, gone. Transferred to accounts I couldn't access. Their futures sacrificed for Maria's present. Maria increased pressure on the church. She threatened to report them for harboring an unstable veteran. Claimed the food bank was enabling dangerous behavior. Several church board members suggested I find alternative housing. The pastor faced a choice: support me and risk his congregation, or cave to Maria's campaign. He chose truth. The pastor provided security footage from my month staying there. Every interaction calm, every moment stable. Me helping with food bank distribution, teaching Sunday school before Maria's campaign began. Evidence of the man I actually was, not the monster Maria painted. I started recording everything, every phone call, every interaction. During a visitation discussion, Maria slipped, admitted she'd been preparing the children for visits, coaching them on what to say. I had her confession recorded. Jake said it might not be admissible, but it was something. The veterans shelter became my new mission. Volunteering gave me purpose and witnesses. The director, Robert McCatherine, was a former family court judge. He'd seen the pattern too many times. Fathers, especially military, systematically alienated from their children. He offered to provide a character reference. A second psychological evaluation was ordered. Different doctor. Dr. Bert Kathman specialized in PTSD evaluation. His assessment was thorough but fair. Normal PTSD responses. No danger to children. Appropriate coping mechanisms. Successful reintegration aside from family crisis. A professional opinion that contradicted Dr. Brennan's biased report. Then Derek's ex-wife contacted Jake. She'd seen social media posts of Derek with my children, recognized the pattern. He'd done the same to her ex-husband, targeted her during his deployment. She discovered the truth too late. Her ex lost custody, lost his military career, now homeless. She was willing to testify. Maria and Derek made their first mistake. They claimed an incident happened at a specific time and date. Jake cross-referenced with my unit's records. I was verified in combat at that exact moment. Impossible to be in two places. Their coordinated lie had a fatal flaw. The bank forensics revealed more fraud. Maria had opened credit cards in my name while I was deployed, maxed them out. My credit destroyed. Identity theft on top of financial abuse. But pursuing criminal charges might delay 3-day custody proceedings. I had to choose justice or my children. At anger management, I met another victim. Same story. Wife's best friend was Maria. They'd planned it together, found vulnerable military husbands, orchestrated identical schemes. His kids called another man daddy too. We weren't isolated incidents. We were targets of a coordinated plan. The fourth supervised visit broke through. During a therapy exercise, Lucas let slip that mommy practiced what to say about daddy. The therapist noted Maria's coaching. Emma added that mommy said daddy would hurt them if they hugged him, the truth leaking through their programmed responses. My deployment buddy shared something crucial. He'd saved our video calls. Hours of footage showing me talking to my children's photos every night in Afghanistan, kissing their pictures before missions, crying after particularly dangerous patrols. Evidence of a father's love from halfway around the world. Then Maria's sister reached out. She'd witnessed Derek's behavior at family gatherings, inappropriate comments to her teenage daughter. Maria had dismissed her concerns as jealousy, but she'd kept records, text messages, emails. Maria knew Derek's predatory behavior and ignored it. The CPS investigation shifted focus. Emma's teacher reported bruising after a weekend with Derek, defensive marks on her arms. CPS had to investigate, but Maria spun it perfectly. Claimed the stress I was causing made Derek accidentally grab too hard. My fault, even when I wasn't there. Lucas told the supervised visit worker he wasn't allowed to love both daddies. The emotional abuse documented in real time. A 5-year-old forced to choose, programmed to reject his father. The worker, a mandated reporter, had to file additional concerns about emotional abuse. I had to stay silent about Derek's investigation. Anything I said would be twisted as harassment, jealousy, vindictiveness. So I watched Maria's public attacks escalate while staying quiet to protect my children. Yes, the truth is finally starting to come out. Lucas just accidentally told the therapist that mommy practiced what to say about daddy. That's huge. And wait, Maria's own sister is coming forward about Derek being creepy with her teenage daughter? This is incredible. Every instinct screaming to fight back, but knowing restraint was my only option. The financial audit delivered a crushing blow. Maria had claimed me as deceased to my life insurance company, collected a $400,000 policy while I was serving. Insurance fraud that implicated her parents as co-conspirators. They'd signed as witnesses to my supposed death. The scale of criminality was staggering. Derek's arrest came suddenly. A domestic incident at his gym. Another military spouse. Pattern of behavior confirmed. But Maria spun it as my fault. Claimed I'd orchestrated it through military connections. The judge, skeptical but cautious, had to consider her claims. Research revealed the full pattern. Maria and her parents had run this exact scheme before. Her first husband, also military, deployed 5 years ago, lost custody, lost career. Now living under a bridge downtown. I wasn't her first victim, just her most profitable. I faced an impossible choice. Press criminal charges and risk years of delayed custody hearings, or focus on getting my children back while letting criminals walk free. Jake advised focusing on custody. Criminal charges could come later. My children needed me now. Maria retaliated immediately, claimed I'd threatened her during a supervised visit. The security footage for that exact time period was mysteriously corrupted. Technical glitch, they said, but the accusation stood. Another mark against me in family court. The judge granted me unsupervised visitation, a major victory. Maria filed an appeal within hours, claiming new evidence. Lucas had mentioned nightmares, normal for any 5-year-old, but in Maria's hands, evidence of trauma from seeing his father. The appeal would delay everything. She used the delay strategically, daily coaching sessions with the children, intensifying the alienation. By the time visitation resumed, they'd be even more programmed against me. The psychological warfare continued. My mental health deteriorated exactly as she'd planned. Every professional who supported me faced retaliation. Dr. DeCathman received ethics complaints. Mrs. O'Brien faced harassment at school. The pastor fielded daily calls about harboring a dangerous veteran. Maria's parents filed complaints with every licensing board. The message was clear. Supporting me came with a cost. The veteran network rallied. Soldiers sharing my story. Fundraising for legal fees. Offering testimony about my character. But Maria portrayed it as intimidation by unstable military buddies. Every support became evidence of threat in her narrative. Family court statistics were sobering. Fathers rarely won these cases, even with evidence of alienation, even with proof of coaching. The bias toward mothers meant I needed overwhelming evidence. Jake said we were building it, but would it be enough? I made a desperate decision. Accessed my home security system using old military tech knowledge. Downloaded footage of Derek's behavior. Verbal abuse when Maria wasn't around. Aggressive handling of the children. Evidence that could protect them, but obtaining it violated the restraining order. The footage showed Derek screaming at Lucas for spilling juice, shoving Emma when she talked back. Maria nowhere to be seen during these incidents. My children being abused while I was forced to stay away, but showing it meant admitting to illegal access. Jake found legal precedent. Emergency exception for child welfare. Risky, but possible. We prepared the evidence carefully. The choice between my freedom and my children's safety was no choice at all. I'd risk jail to protect them. Maria's first ex-husband agreed to testify. Broken man, but willing to share his story. The identical pattern. The same parental alienation. The same financial destruction. The same result. Living proof of my future if Maria won. School performance reports showed the damage. Emma's grades plummeting. Lucas acting out in class. The psychological toll of the custody battle evident in their academic decline. Educational neglect added to the growing list of concerns. The school psychologist filed a formal report. Despite facing guaranteed harassment from Maria's family, she stood firm. Professional obligation to report the obvious emotional damage. Another crack in Maria's perfect mother facade. Lucas accidentally revealed the truth to his teacher. Mentioned that mommy practiced what they say about daddy. The teacher, a mandated reporter, documented everything. Child's unprompted admission of coaching. More evidence of systematic alienation. I accepted a plea deal on the restraining order violation. Misdemeanor charge to introduce Derek's abuse footage. Jake negotiated carefully. Admission of technical violation while protecting children. Maria immediately used it against me. Her emergency motion painted me as a criminal. Stalking, harassment, violation of court orders. The justified reason, protecting my children from abuse, buried under legal language. Every protective instinct reframed as aggression. Derek made bail immediately, moved right back into my former home, despite the protection order for the children, despite video evidence of abuse. The system moved slowly while children remained at risk. Justice delayed was justice denied. The final custody hearing was scheduled. Maria confident in her manufactured evidence, my admitted crimes, my pattern of stalking, the biased guardian ad litem report, everything stacked in her favor. But Jake had one more card to play. The courtroom would be packed, veterans supporting me, Maria's manufactured supporters, two versions of truth competing, my children's futures hanging in the balance. Everything led to this moment. Jake prepared meticulously. Witness lists, evidence folders, expert testimony lined up, the pattern of fraud, the coaching videos, the abuse footage. Would it be enough to overcome the systematic bias? I spent the night before the hearing in the church basement, praying to a God I'd lost faith in, begging for justice, for my children, for the chance to be their father again. Tomorrow would decide everything. The financial crimes would eventually be prosecuted. Insurance fraud, identity theft, bank fraud. Maria's parents facing charges too, but that was future justice. First, I had to save my children from their present reality. My entire unit submitted video testimonies, character references from Afghanistan, brothers who'd seen me at my best and worst, who knew the father I was, the man I am, their words against Maria's lies. As dawn broke on the hearing day, I put on my only suit, the one from our wedding. Bitter irony. Looked in the mirror at a man transformed by betrayal, thinner, older, harder, but still a father, still fighting. Jake met me at the courthouse steps. Final strategy session. Stay calm. Let the evidence speak. Don't react to provocations. Trust the truth, even when the system seemed designed to ignore it. Maria arrived with an entourage. Parents, Derek, supporters she'd cultivated, playing the victim perfectly. The struggling single mother, the protective parent, the woman forced to defend her children from their dangerous father. Inside, veterans filled one side. Men who'd served, who understood, who'd faced similar battles, their presence a silent testament. Maria's supporters filled the other, the divide clear. Two narratives, one truth. The bailiff, a former Marine, nodded recognition. Small gesture, huge meaning. Not everyone believed Maria's lies. Some saw through the performance. Some recognized the pattern. Some understood the injustice. As proceedings began, I thought of my children. Emma's laugh before deployment. Lucas's first steps. The family we'd been. The family stolen from us. Everything I'd fought for in Afghanistan paled compared to this battle. The evidence would speak. The truth would emerge. Justice would prevail. Or Maria would win, condemning me to follow her first husband's path. Homeless, broken, childless. The stakes couldn't be higher. Jake laid out the evidence methodically. The coaching videos played on the courtroom screen. Maria teaching our children to fear me while I was serving overseas. The timestamps proving premeditation. Derek wearing my watch in the background. The judge watched without expression, taking notes. Maria's lawyer tried to dismiss the videos as misunderstood parenting techniques. Normal preparation for a father with PTSD. The judge asked why preparation began 6 months before my return. Maria's lawyer stumbled through an explanation about anticipating problems. The judge made more notes. Derek's ex-wife took the stand. She described the identical pattern from 5 years ago. Military husband deployed, Derek moving in, children coached against their father, financial accounts drained. Her ex-husband lost everything. The judge asked specific questions about timelines. Everything matched our case. Maria's first ex-husband testified next. Broken man, hands shaking as he described losing his children. The same coaching videos, the same false allegations, the same result. Living under a bridge now. The judge studied him carefully, comparing his testimony to mine. The forensic accountant presented the financial evidence. Combat pay diverted to Derek's business. Children's college funds emptied. Credit cards opened in my name. Insurance fraud claiming my death. The numbers were staggering. $400,000 in life insurance. 18 years of college savings. Everything documented. Emma's teacher testified about the bruising, the behavioral changes, the rehearsed phrases about being scared of daddy. She'd kept detailed records despite harassment from Maria's family. The judge reviewed her documentation, asking about specific incidents. The school psychologist confirmed the emotional damage. Both children showing signs of parental alienation syndrome. Lucas unable to express love for both parents. Emma parroting coached phrases. Academic performance declining. Professional opinion that the children were being psychologically abused. Dr. Kathman presented his evaluation. My PTSD symptoms were typical and manageable. No history of violence, no danger to children. The dinner table incident was a normal startle response. He compared it to Maria's coached videos, which posed the real danger to the children. The pastor provided security footage from the church. Months of calm interactions. Me helping with food bank distribution. Teaching Sunday school. No aggressive behavior. No instability. Just a father fighting for his children while maintaining his composure. My unit commander testified via video link. Described my service record. The extra missions for hazard pay. The nightly video calls home. The photos of my children I carried on every patrol. A soldier serving his country while his family was stolen. Derek's arrest record was entered into evidence. Domestic violence. Conduct unbecoming. Pattern of targeting military families. The judge reviewed his history, comparing it to the new charges. Another military spouse victimized at his gym. The guardian ad litem tried to testify, but the judge stopped her. Family connection to Derek discovered. Conflict of interest. She was dismissed. A new guardian appointed immediately. The corruption in Maria's support network starting to show. Maria took the stand. Played the victim perfectly at first. Struggling single mother. Absent military husband. Needed help with the children. Derek was just a friend helping out. The tears seemed genuine until Jake started cross-examination. Jake presented the timeline. Maria meeting Derek 3 months into deployment. Financial transfers starting immediately. Coaching videos beginning at 6 months. Everything planned while I was serving. Maria claimed coincidence. The judge looked skeptical. The insurance fraud evidence destroyed her credibility. Maria had claimed me dead to collect $400,000. Her parents had witnessed the false death certificate. She stammered about miscommunication, paperwork errors. The judge's expression hardened. Jake played Maria's recorded admission about coaching the children. Her voice clear on the tape, admitting she prepared them for visits, told them what to say. Maria claimed the recording was edited. edited, taken out of context, but the damage was done. Derek fled during lunch recess. Warrant issued for his arrest. Abandoned Maria without warning. Took my deployment medals from the house. My watch. Everything valuable he could carry. Maria's perfect partner revealed as the coward he'd always been. Maria's parents were arrested in the courthouse. Insurance fraud charges. Conspiracy. They'd signed as witnesses to my false death. Helped steal $400,000 meant for my children. Led away in handcuffs while Maria watched. Without Derek, without her parents, Maria's facade cracked. She admitted targeting me but claimed Derek manipulated her. Said she never meant for it to go so far. The judge asked about the coaching videos from 6 months into deployment. Maria had no answer. The judge called a recess to review evidence. Veterans in the gallery discussed similar cases. Fathers who'd lost everything. Some saw hope in how my evidence was presented. Others remained skeptical. The system rarely favored fathers. When court reconvened, the judge's decision was swift. Systematic and severe parental alienation proven. Coaching children against their father while he served his country. Financial fraud, insurance fraud, identity theft, pattern of behavior with multiple victims. Full custody awarded to me. Maria granted supervised visitation pending psychological evaluation and therapy. Criminal charges recommended for fraud. Restitution ordered for stolen funds, though recovery seemed unlikely. Maria broke down completely. Sobbed about losing her babies. The same children she'd taught to fear me. The judge remained unmoved. Actions had consequences. Crimes against children and veterans wouldn't be tolerated. The bailiff, that former Marine, shook my hand as I left. Small gesture of recognition from one veteran to another. Justice served, but the victory felt hollow. My children were psychologically damaged. Years of healing ahead. Jake warned me outside the courthouse. Winning custody was just the beginning. Undoing the psychological damage would take time. Professional help, patience. The real battle was healing my children's wounds. I drove to Maria's house, my former home. Derek's belongings scattered on the lawn. Maria's parents' car abandoned in the driveway. The American flag I'd hung before deployment still crumpled in the garbage. I retrieved it. Emma and Lucas were at school. Emergency pickup authorized by the custody order. I arrived to find them in the counselor's office. They looked confused when told Daddy was taking them home. The counselor encouraged them gently. The drive home was silent. Emma stared out the window. Lucas clutched his backpack. No excitement about coming with Daddy. No questions about where we were going. Just programmed wariness of the stranger driving them. I'd rented a small apartment near their school. 2 bedrooms, basic furniture. Their room set up with familiar toys from before deployment. Emma walked in hesitantly. Lucas wouldn't leave my side, but not from affection, from confusion. That first night, they asked for Mommy repeatedly. Asked when Derek was coming back. I explained gently that they'd live with me now. See Mommy on weekends. The confusion in their eyes broke my heart. Everything they'd been taught was wrong. Bedtime was hardest. Emma insisted I scared her, though she couldn't say why. Lucas wet the bed, something he'd outgrown before I deployed. I changed sheets at 3 a.m., wondering how long recovery would take. The next morning, I made pancakes, their favorite before deployment. They picked at them suspiciously. Every normal father action met with programmed resistance. Maria's coaching ran deep. Derek's influence lingered. School helped maintain routine. Teachers informed of the custody change. The principal, a veteran himself, understood the situation, promised to monitor the children's adjustment, report any concerning behaviors. After school, homework at the kitchen table. Emma struggled with math. I offered to help. She flinched when I reached for her pencil. Weeks of Derek's aggressive handling had left marks deeper than bruises. Lucas started therapy first. Play therapy with a specialist in parental alienation. Slow progress. Learning Daddy wasn't scary. That loving both parents was okay. That the stories Mommy told weren't true. Emma's therapy was harder, older, more indoctrinated. She repeated Maria's phrases about not feeling safe. The therapist worked patiently, building trust, undoing months of psychological manipulation. I returned to work. Construction job through a veterans program. Steady income, normal hours, home every evening. Stability the children needed after months of chaos. Rebuilding our lives brick by brick. Weekends were adjustment periods. Supervised visits with Maria at first. She cried through everyone, begged the children to remember she loved them. The supervisor documented her emotional instability. The children left confused. Slowly, glimpses of the past emerged. Lucas laughing at a joke. Emma asking for help with homework without flinching. Small victories in a long war. Progress measured in moments, not milestones. The fraud investigation continued. Maria charged formally. Her parents pleading out. Derek still missing. The stolen money gone. Spent on their new life while I served. Recovery unlikely, but justice proceeding. 3 months in, Lucas called me Daddy without prompting. Not Derek, not the scary man. Just Daddy. I kept my reaction calm, but my heart soared. Oh, my heart. The part where Emma flinched when he tried to help with homework absolutely broke me. First real breakthrough in the healing process. Emma took longer. 6 months before she hugged me goodnight. Tentative at first. Testing if I was really safe. When nothing bad happened, she hugged tighter. Years of fear slowly melting away. The apartment became home. Photos from before deployment mixed with new ones. Building fresh memories. Pizza nights. Movie weekends. Homework help. Normal father things that felt like miracles. Maria served 2 years. Fraud conviction. Her parents got probation. Elderly. First offense. Derek never found. Warrants outstanding. My stolen medals and watch gone forever. Small price for my children's return. By the time Maria got out, the children were different. Healed, mostly. They loved their mother, but understood boundaries. Supervised visits continued. She completed therapy. Claimed growth. The children remained cautious. I never remarried. Trust broken too deeply. Focused on Emma and Lucas. On being the father they deserved. The one Maria tried to erase. The one who fought through hell twice. Afghanistan and family court. Emma graduated high school with honors. Spoke at the ceremony about overcoming challenges. Never mentioned the custody battle directly, but I knew. She knew. We'd survived together. Father and daughter, rebuilt from ruins. Lucas joined ROTC in college, following my footsteps but his own path. We talked about service differently. About protecting family from all enemies, foreign and domestic. He understood the reference. Years later at Emma's wedding, Maria attended. Invited by Emma, not me. We nodded politely, shared no words. The past buried under layers of healing. Our children thriving despite her betrayal. The veteran support group still meets. I sponsor new fathers facing similar battles. Share evidence techniques, legal resources, hope. The system still favors mothers, but more fathers fight back now. My story spreads through military networks. Not famous, not viral. Just whispered support among brothers facing custody battles. Proof that fathers can win, that evidence matters, that persistence pays off. Derek surfaced eventually. Another state, another military wife. Same pattern. This time, authorities were ready. Multiple warrants. Pattern of behavior documented. He got 10 years. Justice delayed but not denied. The stolen money never recovered. The college funds rebuilt slowly. The deployment medals replaced by the military. The watch just a memory. Things that seemed important once. Nothing compared to bedtime hugs. Sometimes Lucas asks about the dark years, how I survived losing them. I tell him about the church basement, the free meals, the brothers who stood by me, the lawyer who worked for Rage, the pastor who provided shelter, the network that caught me when I fell, the fight that brought them home. Emma keeps one photo from the custody battle, her drawing from supervised visitation. 2 houses, 1 dark, 1 light. Now she's an art therapist, helping children express trauma. Full circle from victim to healer. I still attend therapy. PTSD managed but never gone. Triggers exist but controlled. The war in Afghanistan ended for me. The war for my children won. Both battles left scars. Both made me stronger. On quiet evenings, I think about paths not taken. If Maria hadn't been corrupted, if Derek hadn't existed, if deployment hadn't separated us. But those thoughts fade. Reality is 2 healthy children, a simple life, a father's love that survived everything thrown at it. The apartment upgraded to a house eventually. Small but ours. American flag flying properly. Photos of deployment mixed with school pictures. Past and present coexisting. Family rebuilt from ashes. Support group members call sometimes, facing their own custody battles. I share what worked. Evidence, documentation, persistence, truth. The system biased but not impervious. Father's rights growing stronger. Maria lives quietly now, works retail, sees the children regularly, follows court orders precisely, claims she's changed. Maybe true, maybe performance. Doesn't matter anymore. The children are safe. At Lucas's commissioning ceremony, both parents attended. Separate sections. Proud of our son. The young man who survived our war, who chose service despite seeing its cost. Stronger for the trials. Emma's first pregnancy brought unexpected emotions. Protective instincts flaring. Promises that her child would never experience what she did. That custody battles wouldn't define another generation. Breaking cycles. The veterans shelter where I volunteered hired me eventually, helping others navigate family court, sharing resources, building networks, turning personal pain into community support. Purpose from trauma. Some nights I dream of Afghanistan, other nights of empty bank accounts, coaching videos, supervised visits, different battlefields, same survival instinct, same determination to protect what matters. My grandchildren know nothing of the custody battle. To them, I'm just grandpa, the one who makes pancakes, tells army stories, fixes bicycles, normal grandfather things that feel like gifts. Derek's other victims reached out over the years, comparing stories, finding closure, his pattern exposed, his harm documented, military families warned, predators identified, networks strengthened, the church pastor retired, still friends. He officiated Emma's wedding, reminded us that sanctuary comes in many forms, that good people stand against injustice, that faith survives betrayal. Jake became a judge eventually, specializes in family law, veterans advocate, father's rights champion, uses our case in training, shows what evidence matters, how truth prevails. Eventually, the stolen years can't be recovered, the money mostly gone, the innocence lost, but what remains is stronger. A father's love tested by fire, children who survived manipulation, family bonds reforged. On deployment anniversaries, I think of that homecoming, children ignoring me, in-laws filming, Maria distant, the beginning of hell, but also the first step toward truth, toward justice, toward healing. Recovery isn't a destination, it's daily choice. Choosing patience when Emma has flashbacks, choosing calm when Lucas questions the past, choosing forgiveness for myself, for not seeing, for trusting, for leaving. The support network remains. Brothers who stood in court, who donated to legal funds, who shared their own stories, who proved that service continues after uniform, that battles take many forms. Sometimes new fathers ask if it was worth it, the financial ruin, the emotional trauma, the years of fighting. I show them photos, Emma's graduation, Lucas's commissioning, grandchildren playing. They understand. Maria sends cards on holidays. Appropriate distance maintained. The children respond politely. Boundaries respected. Co-parenting achieved through courts and therapy. Not friendship, just function. My life is smaller than planned. No military retirement, no savings recovered, no remarriage, but fuller too. Every moment with my children earned, every milestone witnessed, every hug treasured. The war stories I tell now aren't from Afghanistan. They're from family court, from supervised visits, from therapy sessions, from small victories, different battlefield, same courage required. At the support group, new fathers arrive broken, custody lost, children alienated, finances drained. I see myself 8 years ago. Share hope. Evidence wins. Truth matters. Children heal. The system still needs reform. Fathers still face bias. Alienation still happens. But more resources exist. More awareness. More fathers fighting. More children saved. Progress measured in cases won. Derek's pattern helped change state law eventually. Pattern recognition in custody evaluations. Military deployment protection strengthened. Small changes. Important ones. Other children protected. Other fathers helped. I keep one video from Afghanistan, reading bedtime stories to photos, kissing their pictures. The love that sustained me, that brought me home, that survived betrayal, that won them back. The custody order sits in my safe. Legal document. Proof of victory. But the real proof is laughter at dinner, help with homework, bedtime hugs, normal father things. Everything Maria tried to steal. Some scars never fade. Trust broken permanently. Hypervigilance around children's relationships. Financial paranoia. PTSD layered with custody trauma. But scars prove survival, prove strength, prove love endured. The apartment where we started over is student housing now. Drive by sometimes. sometimes. Remember first nights, scared children, wet sheets, untouched pancakes, how far we've come, how much we've healed. Emma works with custody cases now. Art therapy for alienated children. Draws 2 houses with them. Helps them process. Helps them heal. Her trauma transformed into purpose. Pain into profession. Lucas mentors junior soldiers about family readiness, deployment planning, legal protections, warning signs, his experience protecting others, service beyond uniform, leadership through vulnerability. Grandchildren visit every weekend. Normal chaos. Toys everywhere. Loud laughter. Sticky fingerprints. Beautiful mundane life. The future Maria tried to steal. The family she couldn't destroy. 8 years later, peace exists. Not forgiveness. Not forgetting. Just peace. Children grown. Battles won. Wounds scarred over. Life rebuilt. Simple existence. Hard-earned normal. Everything I fought for. Love this story. This is end. If you guys want more content, subscribe please.